Hello and welcome back. Today, it's a new series. We're going to be interviewing no other than Dani Bedoni, which is a dear friend of mine. And Dani is a life coach. She's a musician and a businesswoman with professional experience committed to helping people achieve their goals. So she offers a unique system in using transferable skills from music in the art and the science of change and reinvention and success in the areas of health, wealth, and love relationships. For more than 30 years, she has coached in Spanish and in English, and she has also coached to children and adults, companies and individuals in the Latino community, American or European communities. So with further ado, please welcome Dani Bedoni, Coach B Wellness. Hey, I'm Veronica de Polo, and with more than 15 years being a marketing strategist, you're going to experience the new way to promote your business with clear and unique messaging by giving you actionable marketing and messaging strategies that get you interested leads to transform the lives of your audiences so that you build up your brand with continuous momentum. Get ready, because here's where we say no to outdated marketing strategies and society norms, and we say yes to change from the inside out. Welcome to the Branding Momentum Podcast. Well, Dani, I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
It's a dream
and we
come
love
true.
each other, we adore each other, and
It
always
is.
follow you.
I know.
Always, for many, many years.
I know. And me too. And I follow you. You're new to the game of social media, but still you're showing up. That's what I love about it. So let's get into the subject, right? What does it mean to reinvent yourself in business? And how does it differ from simply, pivoting or adapting to new circumstances?
Well, by being change is the constant thing that we always have in life, change. So as a businesswoman, as a musician, and as a coach in the art and science of change, reinvention, and success, for the past 30 years, I have focused on what is change. Change is a constant thing. We're constantly doing different things, and we're constantly reinventing. But for what? For success. So it's a question of having a plan of what it is you want, where you are now, and where you want to be. So in order to go to achieve your goals, you have to change. You have to change things that work, that you want to make better, and things that didn't work that you have to leave behind. So it's a pattern. And what I do is I create a roadmap with myself and also with my clients towards that. And where are you? Where are you now, and where do you want to be? So with coaching, you grab that space and make it shorter and make it more fun.
I love that, because I usually tell that a lot to my clients, and even I say it on social media all the time. It's like, who do you want to serve? Like, who do you want to do when you are, when you are creating your social media, your strategies and everything? Like, how can you empower them? How can you bridge the gap so they actually do understand what you're going to serve them in your business, right? So if you already have the end in mind, you can work your way backwards. And that's what I call like reverse engineer your actions. So I love that, because it's very, very similar to what I usually tell the people that I serve, and how to plan for how you want to do things in your business, for social media marketing, selling, anything, right? So I love this because it's also part of personal growth and how you want to get your goals achieved,
exactly.
Right? And I like that you do that for all of us, actually, not for only the few, but for all
especially
of us.
For women. I work a lot with Latino women because we have a lot of Latino women who have changed in the sense that they have left their countries and they live in Europe, which is your case, or in America, which is my case. And how do you give the transferable skills that they could have from their culture, because it's very important to keep your identity and to be authentic. But how do you adapt to a new culture and a new business, and a new business of your life? And that could be a personal growth or a professional growth. And they really go hand in hand. But I create a plan for personal and professional, because it's a symbiosis between both of them to arrive to where you want to go.
I completely agree. Is the motto of my business, and what I say all the time, is that your business is the reflection of who you are. So who you are will determine what kind of business do you have, how you want to show up, how you want to be. It all starts with you. And that's the way that you, even the way it starts with you, it's also the way that you take care of your clients, the way that you take care of you with your self-talk, with your mindset, with your thinking, with your overthinking, right? So it's so powerful what you are saying, because I hope that a lot of people that are listening do consider that it's not bad to go deep. It's not bad to dig out dirt and, and uncover who you really want to be. And I've always talked about the uniqueness in us, in our business or in our branding, right? And this is so true what you're
Well, how you
saying.
do something is how you do everything. So again, you have to have a system. And I one of the things you said something about the brain and how we think or overthink. If I go always to the basics when I start giving coaching lessons or coaching clients or communities or individuals, is the same principle thing that we are 95 to 98%, we're animals. Okay, we have to realize who we are, and we have to realize that we have to go back to our instinct. And the difference between the evolution, where we're talking about evolution between animals and human beings, is that brain development. So sometimes we overthink things, which is great to think, but sometimes where do you stop? So to find out who you are, you have to know where you come from. It's really important that digging deep that you were saying about that is what really is the person, the animalistic person that you are inside. And I play a game with my clients, because I always say, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. So let's have fun with this journey. And I say, okay, so we know we're animals, 95 to 98. Why do I say that different number? Because it's chimpanzees is 98%. And then after that is 95% in the rest. And then going lower and lower, like 40% is same DNA as dogs. And that's why we're so connected to animals, by the way. That's why we have pets. And that's why, when I work with kids also, I always say to parents, go to the zoo, make them, envision what kind of animal they represent themselves. So go back to being your kid, go back to your inner child and create, again, we're creating a roadmap. What kind of animal do you want to be? How do you see yourself? It's these little simple games that make it fun. And realize, for example, I always say that I'm a lion and a bee. I choose both of them because I have like the feminine and the masculine side. And so the queen bee, that's why it's Coach Bee. So, and I like being in a community. I like having...
I've never seen myself as an animal until now. I'm trying to think here. I'm like, who would I want to be? I had no clue. I always like butterflies
that's the first thing.
And dragonflies. Those are my favorite. That's it.
See, this is a really coaching fun moment. Start working on finding out what kind of animal you want to be. And so it makes it fun and it makes you realize the things that you like. Because how do you know who you are? You know who you are by knowing what you like and knowing what you don't like. So you start kind of analyzing with your coach, with your team, whomever you want to work with, who you are as an animal. If we're, again, 98 to 95%, you find out who you are. Number one. Number two, why are you choosing those characteristics? And how do those characteristics kind of go in hand in a fun way, again, with what you like to do. And so you realize if it's business, professional part, or it's personal, family or relationship part, how that animal can kind of work in that community. So you don't take yourself so seriously. You make it much more again as a game,
Okay.
and you have fun with it.
Uh-huh. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, guys, now that you know how to do this, find your
Yeah,
inner
yeah,
animal.
roar.
I like that. I like that.
Sometimes people, I realize, take things a little bit too serious. And I was like, look, I have a unique
Mm,
system about enjoying this journey, because it is the most important thing in your life is to be happy with what you're doing. And happy is not just saying, okay, today I'm going to be happy. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a
no.
choice, and realizing what
Yeah.
those instincts are. So you can create an identity and you create your own story. And so that way you realize what kind of business you want to be in, what kind of, you were saying the word serving others. That's so beautiful. How do you want to serve others? So what are qualities that you
Mm-hmm.
have? When I say that I offer a unique
Yeah.
system, it's because it's a unique system that you can create for yourself. And that's why people call you, because they call you for your
Exactly.
uniqueness. So what is that
Mm,
unique part?
mm. And your expertise, of course, and your expertise
Mm-hmm.
on your know-how, on the things that you've lived, and that uniqueness comes from you doing things
Yeah.
in a different kind of way, because everybody is different. I always try to tell this to my audience. I always tell them, you are so different from your competitors. Even if you're doing the same thing, you're not the same business, because you are different. You didn't have the same life experiences. So whatever you say about your business, your storytelling, your messaging is going to be completely
But the
different,
important thing is
right?
people don't know how they're different, and that's why I use the animal aspect. What kind of animal
Mm,
are you, and what are your characteristics?
yeah.
So they start tapping in, and that's the number two thing that I really recommend for people to do, is to be creative. So if you're talking about being different than one company than the other, what is your creativity, and how can you
Yeah.
put your magician
Yeah.
hat, your creativity hat? Because again,
Mm,
that's where clients are going to look for you in your own particular business, or in your, if we're talking about relationships, I work a lot with relationships, finding the right person, um, and finding a way for your relationship to work in your family, your friends, or your personal self, or your significant other, or any kind of relationship that you want to do. Go for
I'm
it.
going to pivot here just a slightly bit, because what I love is that, yes, we have this predetermined questions, but you're saying things to me that I know that my audience is saying, like, okay, but I am not a creative person.
We're
What do
all
I do with that?
creative. We're all little kids. Go back again to the roots. So we went back to the animal part. Then I go back in the second level. I go
Mm-hmm.
back into your child, your inner child. Okay. Go back to the things that you like to be as a kid. Because again, it's all about enjoying your life and choosing correctly. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we have people that have chosen because life has led them that way, but is that really giving you that fulfillment? Because we all want to feel fulfilled, and that is a universal thing. Everybody in this world has the same desire, is to love and be loved so they can be fulfilled.
Yeah, I agree, because I've always felt that, because we're so unique, that everybody has the possibility to be amazing. You just only have to believe it. And that self talk is the one that will actually prevent you from not doing something that you want to do. Right. So I believe, well, in my case, I, I thought of so many things that I wanted. Right. But I would always go like, but maybe I don't have the time. I can't do it right now. I think that maybe I should, I'm too young, or I'm too old to do this, like overthink everything. So you start not doing certain things. And I know most of my audience, they also think like that, because we're alike, right? You attract what you attract. The good thing is that I think I have overcome that in some ways. Some other ways, not so much, because life is a learning curve. Nobody's perfect. But yes, it's so interesting what you're saying. That word, the word stuck, is the word that I think a lot of people struggle
Well,
with.
again, go back to your inner
Hmm.
child and go back to your inner animal.
Hmm.
So animals and children
Right.
are not stuck. So they're all in constant
Hmm. Hmm.
emotion and motion. Okay, so what is that motion
Right.
that you want to be? Um, you're stuck because you overthink. And that is the difference between the animal self and the child self. A child doesn't overthink. And that's why it evolves in the rapid speed that we do when we're children. If you realize from 0 to 7 years old, we evolve, we grow, we learn how to add, subtract, read,
It's
and
true.
write, which are the four basic
Yeah.
principles. And if you put music, which is,
Ding dong, you're so
and if you
right.
put music, because
Ding
again, you
dong.
know my history with music. So when you put that with music and
Yeah.
people go, well, I'm not creative, number one, and I'm not a musician, number two. And I go, if you go back to your inner child, we all drew with crayons and we colored and we all had beautiful drawings. So that's creative, number one. Number two, if we go to our musical side that people say I don't want, I always say, start running. See how your heart beats. Stay still. See how your heart stops. You already have rhythm
Yeah.
with that. So if you jump up and down, if you run, you have the music within you. Number three, before we spoke, we sang. Before we sang, there was music, there was rhythm. So again, go back to that origin. So you don't overthink. Go back to who you are and start believing in yourself because it's a belief system. Graham Bell said, if you
Yeah.
believe it, that you can do it. Or if you don't believe it that you can do it, guess
Yeah.
what? You're going to be right.
I love that because, and I'm going to want to go into question number 2 now. But before we go that, my first French words that I said when I was studying French, I said, if I can do it, if I think it, I can do it. If I want, I can do it, actually. If I want,
And if
I
you
can do
don't
it.
want, you won't
And
do it. It's your choice. It's all about
exactly.
taking choices.
Yeah.
Like the choice that we're here talking to
Si
the
je veux,
audience.
je
It's
peux.
the choice of us being here, the choice of the audience to connect. So it's all about a question of a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's dive into
Go for it.
question number 2. So, how can you describe a time in your career that you felt stuck or stagnant, and that, like, what kind of steps did you take to reinvent yourself?
Okay, first of all, we all get stuck sometime, and that is really important because that means you need to stop. Your body is and your mind is telling you, stop. You're doing too much, you're overwhelmed. And I go back to my favorite word, which is focus. That means that you're not focused. You're doing way too many things, and your brain is the stuck means it stops. It's when you have to reboot your phone and you have to turn it, close all the apps and all the windows and turn it off. That means that when you have your
It happened before we started. I had to reboot everything and I was almost freaking
there,
out.
there you
Thank
go.
you.
You get because you're if you think about it, everything is connected. Everything it tells you. If you go with the flow and you're really connected with what's your surrounding, you realize if this is
Yeah.
stuck, if I'm stuck, there's a reason. Instead of going um, into chaotic mode, you know, which is again back to the animal part, fight or flight. It's because you get stuck. Stop what you're doing. Take a deep breath. I do that a lot with the health part. Breathe deeply. Again, that's the music part. As a musician, I started playing the saxophone and then the clarinet. You learn about the importance of breathing. It's something that we do constantly. Again, every animal, every human being on this planet breathes. And you are alive when you breathe. Guess what happens when you stop breathing? You die.
You die.
Okay, so
That's, well, one of the things that I told you, and this is for my audience listening, I told Danny that I wanted to do a session, another interview with her just about the music part because it is so interesting. Plus, we have so many things in common that I don't want to bring here, but I want to do one that is all about the music because I truly feel that you will get the kick out of that. I know that it's going to be wonderful
How about if we
for us to share that part of our lives.
let's create a podcast of a lot of fun topics. Again, when you're having fun,
Yes.
you're doing it
Yes.
right. So we can create a lot of
Exactly.
topics and get some questions also from the audience of things that they're why are they stuck and how can we unstuck them and what's
Yeah.
happening to your body physiologically, which is really important. Again, that's a part of coaching in health on breathing
Mm-hmm.
techniques, on your chakras, your set, aligning everything with your health, with your mind, with your love relationship with yourself. And when you travel and you see that TV on the screen in the airplane that says put your mask first and then help others, it means that you first have to breathe. First you have to breathe. And then usually they have like a mom with a daughter. And it's like, whoa, you're kidding. First you and then your kid. And that's a basic principle. First, you have to save yourself. First, breathe deeply, oxygenate your brain, which needs oxygen because there's a lack of oxygen. Oxygenate your body, which your cells need a lot of oxygen so they can think clearly. And then take care of others. You were saying about serving, but first you have to serve yourself. So when you are grounded, when you're centered, it's when you can help others.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you, Dani Bedoni, have you personally felt stuck that you had to reinvent yourself at some point in your life or?
Oh, completely. I can tell you, look, I was born in Italy, Milano, and then I came to live to the United States when I was 8. I spoke no English, and I was stuck by not speaking. And but by the way, I was bullied. I was called Taco Bell. It's like this Latino girl, had no way to speak English, only Spanish, and I was stuck. I realized like if I stayed there, I was going to not be successful. So when you're stuck, you realize also what is it that's keeping you in this moment where you're paralyzed and you're stuck. Identify the problem. I was bullied. I didn't speak I spoke really bad English and with an accent. So you unstuck.
With an Italian accent.
Huh?
With an Italian accent.
And a Latino because I'm also Venezuelan. So,
of course.
So I was Italian and Venezuelan. So the important thing is to realize, to identify, and the word again is focus on what is getting you stuck and then change and reinvent it. So my mom got me into English lessons, and how to speak without an accent. And then so you reinvent yourself and you're successful. So there's going to be many moments in your life. And I realized how important it is to help other people. Then how did I reinvent myself? My teacher was amazing. My parents were amazing. And they said, what is something unique that you have that you can offer? There you go. What you were talking about. Well, I knew Spanish and Italian. So they said, start teaching them. So I started to teach Spanish in school. And I was only 9 years old. So I started I started to create a business by teaching Spanish. So
you're an entrepreneur since childhood then.
Well, I come from a family of my great-grandmother was an entrepreneur, my grandmother, my mom. So again, I had women who were very strong. And that's also grab mentors. Why is your program so important? So people out there, when they get stuck, have a mentor, have a success belief system that you can go to that can help you. And that's one of the great things about your program because you're constantly giving them positive reinforcement with a system.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes we ask the wrong people about things in our life or in our business that people may not understand. And sometimes you have to find people that don't know you.
Let me twist what you just said. It's not that you ask the wrong people. Let's ask the right people that have the experience. And the most important thing, if you have to
You're right. Yes.
You have to ask people that have gone through the pain. because I just told
Mm-hmm.
you I was bullied. I went through
Yeah.
pain. Pain, when you have
Pain.
pain, is when you change. When you're stuck, it's because you have pain. So, what are you going to
Yeah.
do to be a person that reinvents? You look for
Yeah.
people that have gone through that process and you
Mm-hmm.
ask, what do you recommend? I'm going through this and I know you have too. What did you do
Mm-hmm.
that can inspire me? What system have you used that had worked for you that can work for me? So,
Preach.
so,
Preach, preach,
so,
preach, because this is all messaging. This is all messaging. Your story, the way that you say it, how you say it, is the thing that actually connects
yeah.
with somebody that is suffering there. And you tell them that you went through that, that you know their pain, you understand their pain.
Because you went through it. People will believe you.
Exactly.
People, look,
Yeah.
one of the great things about what we're living right now is that people are informed. So you
Mhm.
really have to be authentic. And people have to understand
Yeah.
that you went through pain, so they believe in you. When
Yeah.
somebody's extremely successful, um, you realize when you interview them what they had to go through, what are the obstacles that they went through. And
Yeah.
that's when people really connect with you.
Exactly. 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 And the thing is that people don't connect through success. People connect more on struggle and pain because that is the connection. Yeah. It's really that. It's really that. Okay. We're going to go to question number 3. Um, how do you treat or help business owners overcome their money mindset struggles? And I wanted to give you this question because there's a lot of people that have this thinking of saying, well, I can't do that. I can't take that course because I don't have the money. Or I can't do this because I don't have them. I can't buy that because I don't have the money. And I honestly believe that most of us at some point in our lives had a money mindset struggle. So how do you deal with a business owner that wants to do so many things, but let's say, oh, I don't want to do, like, I don't know, Facebook ads and things like that. You don't want to put money into your business to be found, for example.
Well, the most important thing, you said the word mindset. What is it that you want to attain? What are, let's start not by the business, but let's start first by the individual. Because the
Mm-hmm.
business is a reflection of the product that individual created. So let's go to the individual per se. What is the mindset of what the mission was to create that business? Because when you talk about business, you talk about money. So if you invest in yourself, is when you invest in education, it's when you invest the way you look, it's when you invest in a business, which means that you have employees in that business. So we start about what is that vision that you have for your company, or what is that vision that you have to yourself. Number two, you also have to find out what are your belief systems on money. What is it that you believe? Do you believe in abundance or not? Because a business is all about abundance. So you have to again go back to the origin of things. If is
Like
this
how you grew up with, if you had money, if you had struggles, if you saw money around you, or everything around you was about money, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, again, what I'm trying to say is what is your principle in creating yourself, that company? You're talking about a company. And I go, if the question is a
Mm-hmm.
company, what is the company about? And what did you invest in that company? Because you creating a company means that you have to have employees, that you have to
Mm-hmm.
have a platform, that you have to either have an office or a space where you're offering some sort of either one, a product or a service. So that there's money right there. So what is the
Mm-hmm.
mindset? Is it that you don't want to grow? Because if you don't want to grow, then you don't invest. But anything that you have to grow, you have to invest either time or money. So you have to find out what is that vision that you have for that company. And number two, what is, as you said before, begin with the end in mind. How do you want to arrive there? So where are you now and where do you want to go? And
Mm.
it's not about, don't focus on the money, focus on the mission, focus on what you want to do. And again, in coaching is where you are now, where do you want to go, and what are the systems that have to be applied towards it? Because if you're focusing on money, you're not focusing on what your business is about. The business is not about that. The business is about either selling a product or selling a service.
Right. Well, my audience, because that's my strong, maybe I have people that have products here, but I'm all about service based businesses. And I believe my audience is a bit mixed. Maybe they're starting as a new service business owners, or they're already more seasoned service business owners, right? Um, what I've heard a lot in coaching calls, in other courses, in other trainings, and masterminds, and things like that, is that these money mindset struggles is usually come from what we were talking before, from how you saw yourself growing up. So you get a belief about money, and then that money mindset, either you clear it, like you clear, like you said, your chakras and all of that, right? Like if you don't clear it, it's going to be a struggle every time you want to make more money into your business, to grow a business, to serve others, and to create different offers. So how would you say, from somebody, like, what would they have to think about that, or realize actually that they have a money mindset?
Okay, well, it's all about the story that you tell yourself. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
think about, you were talking about your software, right? That it all it just disconnected and it wasn't working. So it's all about rebooting. Okay, you have a system
Mm-hmm.
in your brain which is your thought patterns. And number one, as you were saying, is the way you were raised. Is, let's just talk about money as you were focused on that. But this applies to anything you want. So you
Yeah.
have a money mindset that it's either positive, which means abundance, or negative, which means scarcity. So if you're in the scarcity area, um, as a coach, we don't go by the why. Why did that happen? No, that's a therapist. So I don't go towards that. And what I do go towards is, what is the story you want to say to yourself? If you don't want that, then write a new story. You don't have to, you don't have to continue something that doesn't work. That's why you
Mm.
get into this shock or in this freezing mode that you were saying, that you stop and you say, okay, if this is not working for you, why is it not working? So you identify the reasons. And then you say, well, you grab those reasons, you write them down, and you say, I am not applying this software into my brain anymore. You don't buy that anymore. Then you write down, again,
Mm.
we're talking about focusing and beginning with the end in mind. Then you write down
Mm-hmm.
the things that you want to do. I go back again to that principle of beginning with the end in mind that you were saying. What is it that you want? And then you apply a new belief system. How do you do
Yeah.
that? You do it either with a coach, which is what I do, and I love doing it because I've been doing it for 3 decades, and you change the pattern. You change the story, because
Mm-hmm.
this is your life. Your life is you're the architect of this beautiful miracle, which is life. How do you want to see your life as? And so you apply a system of what you want. You see your business grow, as you were saying. What is that business? How does that business
Mm-hmm.
look like? So you focus on the business, you focus on the success, you focus on that art and science of change your mindset. Reinvention, reinvent a new story system. It's all
Yeah,
about the story that you say, and be
it's
successful,
true.
because if you have a system and you apply it every day, then you are and will be successful. But you have to
Yeah.
be also committed to it. You have to have the
Mm-hmm.
discipline. You have to put the work. You have to put the hours.
Yeah.
Wishes don't wash dishes.
Exactly. I love it. Dishes, don't wash dishes. Good. I like that, Danny. I feel very connected to that because I feel that the self talk that we say to ourselves, because the more we repeat things in our brain, the more that we believe them.
Then repeat positive things.
Exactly.
Don't buy something that
Exactly.
doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah. Okay. Our last and not least is, how can someone identify for reinvention in their career or business? What signs should they be looking for? Like if they want to reinvent themselves, what are the kind of clues that they can find of how they can reinvent themselves?
First of all, you have to find out what is it that you want. Don't think about the
Mm-hmm.
reinvention. The reinvention is once you identify what you want to do. Once you identify what you want to do, then you reinvent. Once you know who you are, we came to that question number one about being your inner child and having your animal instinct. Identify the things that you want. Identify the things that you want to invest in. The word is invest. Invest could be money, could be time. And
Mm-hmm.
again, the very important thing here, people say that time is money and money is time. Money you can have, you can lose, and you can gain it again. Time, it's the only thing that we have in this world that we cannot bring back. So be very
Yeah,
mindful of where you want to invest your time. Once you know that, then you know how to reinvent yourself. Because sometimes you have to figure out, maybe I'm spending too much time in something that is not good. So that's when you reinvent. So again, it's not
exactly.
about focusing on the money. It's not about
Mm.
focusing on the reinvention. It's about focusing on you and what you want to do. Once you have clear where you are and where you want to go, and you have a roadmap, the roadmap starts to tell you with a massive action plan how you are reinventing to arrive to where you want to arrive. So the
Exactly.
key is very
Oh,
important to have the keywords really well established and have clarity.
I agree because I have reinvented myself and my business many times. Many times. I I think I told you before when I spoke to you about this. I had gone through. I quit my job, my 9 to 5, my corporate job. I left everything, and then I went. I took the time. Plus, point. I took the time off to get myself sorted in my head with how I wanted to be, how I wanted to show up, how I wanted to do things from now on, how I wanted to react to things, how I wanted to socialize with other people. And then my businesses reflected how I wanted to be. And then I went back to basics. And it's fine. I went back to basics. I went back to marketing. That was my true passion. I went through styling and I went through, it doesn't matter. But I had to go through that to understand where I want to be today, what I want to talk about 24/7. And I'm not going to get tired. But first, I needed to find myself. That was the only way.
You went
That was the,
you went back to your basics of who you are and who you want to be.
mm,
Again, we're talking about I coach a lot of people, but I guess my passion would be women because we have cycles
mm,
and we have to wear a variety of hats. Men have to wear it too. But women,
mm,
you have life choices and you continuously are changing. For example, men don't have menopause. This is where I say men do not have their period. So this is why
mm,
I say that nothing against men at all. It's just that women have a cycle. And so you're
mm.
constantly changing and evolving in a different way. You can get pregnant. You have children. The children change. You become an empty nester, which is myself. My 3 kids are now gone. And so
Yes.
now I'm in a new stage of my life. So,
Yeah.
and if you don't have children, you can have a new stage in your life when you have menopause. You have a change.
We also have mood swings.
But
So,
the mood swings are because we have a
come
menstrual
from your
cycle.
body, of
It's a
course.
menstrual
Yeah.
cycle. So when you
Mm-hmm.
find out, and remember that our heads are round, so our thoughts can change directions. You said you were in marketing, then you do a different things because you were in this cycle of your life. And then you go back maybe to what you love and who you are. So embrace that. Embrace that change. We were talking about change at the beginning. Embrace that change. Embrace that you will reinvent yourself. That is a constant thing. And embrace that you owe it to yourself to be successful. If you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of you?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So take your time.
Exactly.
Take your time to take care
Yeah.
of yourself. Like that's what you
Yeah.
did, and I honor you and value that you did that. It takes a lot of courage to make these decisions of taking your time. So a
Thank
lot
you,
of people
sweetie.
say, but I don't have the luxury to do that because I do need that 9 to 5 job. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, you
Mm-hmm.
have 24 hours a day. Wake up half an hour earlier, and meditate and have a journal to see where that journey wants to take you and you want to take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to do it. I was crying every single day. So I really needed to find myself and uncover who I was. And one of the reasons that I did that was because I remember how spontaneous and happy a child I was as a child. So I really wanted to go back to that, feeling joyous about doing something, not feeling sad every single time. So yeah. Oh, Danny, this has
Sadness,
been the most.
sadness is a good thing, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Sadness is a good
I,
thing.
I,
Sadness is your
yeah,
body telling you you're not going in the right place. That's what sadness
yeah.
is. My clients go, but I'm depressed, I'm sad. And it's your body telling you you're not doing things that make you happy. And remember what I say,
Hmm.
if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. You're supposed to have
I
fun in
love
this
it.
life. You're supposed to enjoy yourself.
This is the conversation that I needed today because I've been on this dark cloud for the last week, 2 weeks. So this is the boost that I needed of a conversation with you. Oh, this has been wonderful. You have given us so much to think about. Dani, tell us, where can people actually find you on social media?
But before I say that, you said something very
Okay.
important because, again, I work a lot through pain. Sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage to say what you just said because a lot of people, oh, is everything I'm fine? It's like, really? Wow. You don't have dark moments? You don't feel depressed? No, I'm a positive person. It's like, okay, that's fantastic. But, we all have a part of ourselves that is telling you, I don't know if I like this. And that's universal. And it takes a lot of courage. And I really honor that you put this out there for people to know that you were in a dark cloud. And this is a very important thing to really realize that your spirit is talking to you. That's what it really means. Don't take it like, am I going to this depression? Remember, we have cycles. Remember, our heads are round, so our thoughts can change direction. We can think one thing about one thing and the other thing. So, very important to realize, why do you have that? And this is where I put music in. I create with my clients. Thank goodness, there's so many great things out there. Technology it could be. I use it as a blessing because technology gives you this aspect of creating your own playlist. So with my
Oh,
clients,
yeah.
I create a playlist when they're sad. So, and I
Oh,
say,
I have all sorts of playlists on my Spotify, and this is not a Spotify announcement or anything. But yes, I before you were coming in, I was getting into the gear into the conversation because I needed to be upbeat, and music gives me that.
exactly. So I use the techniques of music for my coaching because it could be classical music, jazz, could be hip hop, whatever it is.
don't divulge more about this music and therapy. I want to do an entire thing all about
Well,
this
that's
because
my pitch.
it's so
That's
fun.
my pitch. That's why I wanted to end that before I said it. That's my pitch. I'm in the marketing part. Remember, I'm a businesswoman.
Yay!
So I'm a coach, a businesswoman, and a musician. So
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to pitch. Let's work on your states, because if when you manage your states is how you manage who you are and what you do, and that's the secret to success, managing your state. And I use music as a transferable skill to really manage your state and to identify with music that aspect of why you're sad, and singing sad songs. It's beautiful, because they'll come to
that's
a
all
moment.
I've been singing for the last 2 weeks.
It's like a baby, you see a baby sad crying, but it comes to a moment that the baby stops crying. It comes to a moment that you stop feeling sad. And music it works really, really well. So it's the art and science of art, reinvention and yourself, reinvent yourself. And I'm Coach B Wellness. Coach B for
That's an Instagram, right?
Exactly. Coach B, the letter
Coach B.
the letter B, Coach B Wellness. And it's a Shakespearean aspect of to be or not to be. That is the question. Who are you? Number one. Number two, I'm Bedoni, Dani Bedoni. So the B also is Bedoni. And number three, a little bee. You should be your own bee. The bees are something really interesting, and we can do a segment on bees. Because of bees, we have honey.
It's true.
And it's the only animal that you don't eat, but you eat what they do. Number one. Number two, bees work in colonies. They work in communities. Number three, bees actually have a system. They come back they go pollinate the flower and come back, and they give instructions with their tail. Go left, go right, so many meters. And then the other bees listen to that system, and they go out and they pollinate. And thanks to the bees, we have flowers and we have vegetables. They bloom. And that's what I want to do with my Coach B Wellness program, is to make people bloom, to make people flower, happiness, be colorful. So that's Coach B Wellness at gmail.com or Coach B Wellness in Facebook or Instagram.
Don't worry, we're going to leave all the information about Dani Bedoni in the descriptions here on YouTube as well, and on the podcast, of course. Thank you, Dani. I love you so much from the bottom of my heart. This has been amazing. Thank you.
To be continued. We'll continue.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Bye. Ciao. See you same time, same place next week.
Adiós.
Bye-bye.
Que le vaya muy bien.
Adiós.
Bye-bye.